First vibration strikes the narthex wall, where the gray dust of exhaustion has settled over the years. And the initial melody is a draft of cool air through a heavy bronze door. It begins not with a shout, but with the click of a rosary against a wooden pew, and the slow, deliberate ignition of a beeswax taper. This is the first song of the 8, a respiration for the breathless, where the lungs of the soul are invited to expand against the corset of old sorrows. We speak here of the morning of the optic nerve, when the stained glass finally catches a fractured sunbeam and turns a monochromatic grief into a kaleidoscope of ruby and sapphire. The healing starts in the retinas as they learn to see the architecture of a sanctuary that was built to outlast the tremor of our hands. Underneath the vaulted arches, the second movement rises as an unction of scented chrism and crushed hyssop. It is the hymn of the tactile oil sliding over the forehead to seal the cracks in the intellect where doubt has leaked in like winter rain. Here the choir hums a low sustained drone that mimics the steady pulse of a sleeping heart finally at peace. There is no jagged rhythm here, only the smooth surface of a silver painting reflecting the face that has forgotten how to smile. The music pulls the shrapnel of regret from the muscle tissue of the spirit and replaces the iron with the softness of white linen, washed in the waters of a distant Jordan. It is the melody of the mendicant who finds a feast in a single crumb of hope. The third invocation is a polyphony of the ancestors, where the voices of the choir become a ladder of interlocking intervals. Each note is a stone in a cathedral wall supporting the weight of the note above it. This is the song of collective endurance, where the individual ego is submerged into the resonant body of the church. We sing of the communion of the broken, where every fracture in one soul is reinforced by the wholeness of another. The harmony is complex and dense like the interlacing branches of a cedar of Lebanon, providing shade for the weary traveler who has walked too long under the scorching sun of secular demands. The healing here is found in the disappearance of the lonely self into the majestic us. As the fourth song unfolds, it takes the shape of a deep subterranean water, flowing beneath the crypts where the martyrs rest in silent vigil. This is the hymn of the baptismal font, the cold plunge into the mystery of rebirth, where the grime of the world is sloughed off like a dead skin. The rhythm is syncopated and fluid, mimicking the ebb and flow of a tide that obeys a lunar grace. We cannot see, but can only feel in the rising of our blood. It is a song for the thirsty, whose throats have been parched by the salt of their own tears, and it offers a vintage that does not intoxicate, but clarifies the mind until the path ahead is visible through the mist of the valley. The fifth movement is the golden song of the monstrance, a radiance that vibrates at a frequency higher than the human ear can register. but which the marrow of the bone understands perfectly. It is the music of the center of the universe, pulling every stray thought back to its origin. The choir whispers the syllables of ancient Latin, not as dead words, but as living seeds planted in the fallow ground of the heart. This is the medicine of presence, where the healing occurs simply by standing still in the light of the invisible King. There is a weightiness to this hope, a gravity that anchors the drifting spirit to the bedrock of a promise made before the foundations of the stars were laid. In the sixth canticle, we hear the sound of the thurible swinging on its silver chains, a rhythmic clinking that accompanies the rising smoke of the frankincense. The music becomes atmospheric and ethereal, as if the prayers are being carried upward on the backs of angels. This is the hymn of the ascent, the healing of the vertical relationship, where the bent back of the sinner begins to straighten. We are no longer looking at the dust of our origin, but at the constellations of our destination. The lyrics are a tapestry of psalms woven into a modern urgency, asking for the strength to climb the mountain of the Lord, with clean hands and a heart that has been scrubbed by the rough wool of penance. The seventh song is the most difficult for it. It's the song of the great silence, after the final chord has diminished into the rafters. It is the healing of the ear that has been deafened by the cacophony of the world's demands. In this hollowed out space, the hope is a quiet ember glowing in the dark of a Saturday vigil. It is the patient waiting for the stone to roll away. The confidence that the silence of God is not an absence, but a profound preparation. The choir breathes in unison, the rhythmic sigh, the rhythmic sigh. The choir breathes in unison, but with the compunction of every past. The choir breathes in unison, the choir breathes in unison. The choir breathes in unison, the choir breathes in unison. The choir breathes in unison, the choir breathes.
The hammer strikes the wire in a cathedral of felt and spruce, where the piano begins its solitary pilgrimage. A soft descent of notes like rain falling upon the dry parchment of the soul. There is a quietude in the ivory keys, a deliberate pacing of Arbelator's vision that counts the heartbeats of the weary before the first word is ever uttered. Then comes the violin, a slender reed of wood and resin, weeping upward in a glissando that's the distance between the earth and the firmament. It does not merely play a melody, it sighs the ancient longing of the Anima Christi, pulling a silver thread through the silence, vibrating with the tension of a spirit that is both broken and being mended. This is the prelude to the indwelling, the preparation of the vessel for the wine and the water that are about to flow from the side of the transcendent.
Soul of Christ, be the breath within my own lungs, a sanctification that moves not as a concept, but as a tangible warmth spreading through the marrow. The choir rises now, the Bucas Palette Collective, a tapestry of voices that carries the weight of 1,000 Sundays, and the intimacy of a single whispered confession.
Their harmony is the architecture of mercy, building a roof of song over the listener, where every alto's depth and every soprano's light serves to illuminate the darkness of the human condition. Body of Christ, save me, not from the world, but within it, becoming the very substance of my resilience. The piano ripples underneath like the surface of a disturbed pool, reflecting the fractured light of grace, while the violin sustains a high, shimmering note that feels like the very edge of a cloud touched by the setting sun. Blood of Christ, inebriate me. Let the vintage of the cross wash away the thirst for things that do not satisfy. There is a holy intoxication in this movement, a rhythmic ebb and flow, where the percussion of the piano's Lord register grounds. The celestial flight of the voices, water from the side of Christ, wash me. Not merely a cleansing of the skin, but a deluge for the interior deserts, a river finding its way through the canyons of the heart's hidden grievances. The music swells here, the violin becoming more urgent, its vibrato a pulse of desperation and hope intertwined. It is the sound of the spear wound becoming a portal, an invitation to hide within the cleft of the rock. Oh, passion of Christ, strengthen me, for the journey is long and the mountain is steep, and only the memory of the suffering God can provide the fortitude to endure the silence of the Saturday tune. Oh, good Jesus, hear me. Let the prayer transition from a liturgical rite into a desperate rhythmic breathing. Within thy wounds hide me. Let the jagged edges of thy pain be the sanctuary where my own scars find their resonance and their rest. The choir's voice is thick, a wall of sound that is neither harsh nor heavy, but enveloping like a shroud made of light. Do not permit me to be parted from thee. The piano insists with a recurring motif, a stubborn insistence of grace that refuses to let go of the hem of the garment. From the malignant enemy defend me, from the shadows that whisper of unworthiness and the cold winds of abandonment. The violin now dances in a counterpoint of protection, a soaring bird circling the fortress of the melody, warding off the night with a frantic, beautiful clarity. In the hour of my death, call me and bid me come to thee, that with thy saints I may praise thee forever and ever. The music begins its long, translucent fade, the voices thinning into a singular, holy vibration. The violin returns to its lowest string, a resonant, woody hum that mimics the settling of the earth, while the piano offers one final crystalline chord that hangs in the air like incense in an empty nave. This is the Bucas palette, the open hand, surrendering a song back to the silence from which it was born. The lyrics have dissolved into the atmosphere, leaving only the scent of the sacred and the lingering vibration of a soul that has, for a few minutes, been fused with the divine. The final note is not an end, but a door left slightly ajar, through which the light of the soul of Christ continues to pour into the quiet rooms of our ordinary lives.
In the deepening amethyst of the 7th hour, when the Sabbath sun leans low against the leaded glass, the silence settles upon the nave like the weight of ancient water. Here, the clock counts not in seconds but in heartbeats, marking the threshold where the day's labor dissolves into the vesperal glow. We gather, a collective of lungs and longing, positioned in the tired shadows, where the wood of the pew smells of lemon oil, and the prayers of 1,000 previous Sundays. The air is thick with the residue of incense, and the cooling heat of the afternoon, a physical suspension waiting for the first vibration.
The dust of these 40 suns is not merely earth, but the residue of every mask I have worn until this hollow noon. It settles in the creases of a brow marked by the charred remains of a palm that once waved in a triumph. I did not understand, a gray sigil of the transient. Now the wind is a scouring brush, a rough-hewn abrasive, meant to strip the gilding from the leaden heart, until the core is exposed, shivering and raw in the wilderness of the self. We do not walk into this silence to find ourselves, but to lose the phantoms that have claimed our names in the clamorous marketplaces of vanity. The horizon is a jagged line of slate and copper, a furnace where the dross of enough is burned away by the relentless and holy. More of the Spirit. To believe is not a soft gesture of the mind. It is the sound of bone knitting back together after a long and jagged fracture. It is the weight of a mountain resting upon the fragility of a mustard seed, a paradoxical gravity that pulls us upward, even as we kneel in the silt of our own undoing. When the mirage of the oasis whispers of easy water, and the stones suggest they might become bread to sate a shallow hunger, we learn the liturgy of the refusal. To resist is to become a fortress of flint, sparked only by the friction of divine grace against the cold iron of our resolve. The serpent offers the kingdom of the visible, the immediate, the tangible pulse of power that rots in the hand. But we are seeking the kingdom that arrives like a deep breath in the quiet of a surrendered will. There is a fire that does not consume the bush but consumes the lie, a heat that demands the sacrifice of our most cherished illusions. Lent is the kiln of this turning year, a season where the wax of our comfort melts to reveal the unburned wick of our original longing. Each candle flickering in the drafty nave of the soul is a small defiance against the gravity of our own failures, a golden needle stitching the dark fabric of the night back to the dawn. We are being grafted into a vine that bleeds wine and offers thorns as a crown of jewels. The growth is subterranean and agonizingly slow, an expansion of roots through the parched and packed soil of the heart, seeking the hidden springs that the surface world has long since forgotten. Repentance is the turning of the ship in the middle of a gale, of violent and necessary correction of the soul's compass toward a star we cannot see, but feel in the marrow. It is the shedding of the winter skin, the scales falling from the eyes until the light of the coming Resurrection is no longer a blinding glare, but a welcoming home. We walk not toward a destination of cold stone, but toward a person of living fire. The temptation is always to stay in the shallow waters where the footing is sure and the risks are measured in pennies. But the faith we crave is found only where the bottom drops away, and the vastness of God becomes our only buoyancy. Forgive the hands that clutched at shadows, for they now reach for the hem of a garment made of light. Let the hunger of these days be a hollow space where the word may finally echo without the interference of our own noise. We are the clay being turned on the wheel of the fast, thinned and shaped by the pressure of a thumb that knows exactly where we are prone to crack. In the breaking is the healing, in the starving is the feast. We watch the wick shorten and the flame grow tall, for the faith that survives the desert is the only faith that can endure the sun. Turn the key in the rusted lock of the ego, let the gates of the heart swing wide to the King who comes not with an army, but with the cross. The ashes on our skin are but the soil from which the lilies of April shall inevitably break their green and silver silence. For the arched silence of the basalt years and the long thrumming vigil of the unlit wick, we have carved your name into the very lintels of our exhaustion. There is a weight in the Advent air, a suspension of breath, the taste of cold iron and coming cedar, where the ancient dust of the prophets mingles with the fresh frost of a Judean midnight. We are the inheritors of a sigh that began when the first gates were barred, a lineage of the tethered who have learned to read the braille of the stars while waiting for a hand to touch the horizon. We stand in the nave of history, where the echo of the Stuttgart cadence grounds our feet upon the shivering storm. And we summon the King who arrives not with the roar of a predator, but with the terrible fragility of a heartbeat. Come, O long expected, who was whispered in the tents of nomads and calculated in the geometries of the Magi. For our knees are calloused from the stone, and our spirits are thin as beaten gold. You are the release of the captive, not merely from the iron shackle, but from the internal cage of the self, where the shadows of our own making have long outgrown our stature. From the stump of Jesse, where the sap seemed dry, to a memory of greenness emerge now as the sovereign branch that defies the winter of our discontent. We do not ask for a conqueror who tramples the vintage of wrath, but for the deliverer who gathers the scattered fragments of our dignity
and knits them into a royal garment.
The choir breathes as one, a single lung of prayer, vibrating against the stained glass, where the story of the light is told in shards of sapphire and crimson. They sing of the consolation of Israel, a phrase that carries the salt of 1,000 years of tears, and the honey of a promise kept against the odds of entropy. It is the music of the great homecoming, where the prodigal species recognizes the gate of its creator, walking through the tall grass of the world's evening. Every voice is a thread of silver, pulled through the dark fabric of the present, a sonic spanning the abyss between the not yet and the at hand, until the air itself feels heavy with the gravity of your approach.
Born to set thy people free is the mantra of the revolutionary, and the lullaby of the weary, for there is no freedom like the surrender to a love that knows the architecture of our bones.
Break the heart of the oppressor by the gentleness of your entry, and break the pride of the righteous by the poverty of your cradle. We have built cathedrals of pride and dungeons of despair, but you seek only the manger throne of a willing spirit, where the cattle of our instincts low in the presence of the infinite. Let the Stuttgart melody rise like a pillar of smoke in the wilderness, a steady and rhythmic pulse that mimics the walking pace of those who journey toward the light.
You are the desire of every nation, even those who have forgotten how to name their hunger, or have tried to sate it with the husks of fleeting empires. There is a cosmic ache that only the incarnation can soothe, the tectonic shift in the soul, when the creator becomes the creature and hallows the very dust we tread. In the harmony of the voices, we hear the reconciliation of all things, the high soprano of hope dancing above the deep bass of our mortality, creating a resonance that shakes the foundations of the tomb before it is even occupied. This is the advent of the eternal kingdom, where the scepter is held by a hand that will one day bear the scar of our salvation. By thine own eternal spirit rule in all our hearts alone, for we have tried the governance of kings and the whims of the mob, and found them wanting of the mercy that only a shepherd king can provide. Bring us out of the twilight of our expectations into the noon of your presence, where the long expected becomes the forever possessed. We are no longer orphans of the void, but children of the promise, standing on the threshold of a new creation, where the first light of the morning star is already catching on the edges of our songs. The hymn ends, but the vibration remains us of our songs. The hymn ends, but the vibration remains us of our songs. The hymn ends, but the vibration of our songs. The hymn ends of our songs. Through the arched silence of the basalt